What is going on, guys? Back for another video. In today's video I want to do a quick review on this spring snowflower and crabapple, how it's looking, and it needs some pruning. And these daylilies, so let's do that. It's a little colder this year, I don't know, maybe even than the last time I filmed this, but we're just about left the same amount of snow we were the last time we filmed this. Actually identically. We filmed this video on same video on March 19th, 2024, and it's March 19th, 2025 right now. So we're gonna film it again. We're just at about the same snow level. It did melt pretty abruptly. So I'm gonna put this in the 0.5. I'm gonna show you guys some of the buds. See up here, we've got the buds, and they're got a little bit of white on the tips. Some of them are like a little frosted over there. I think that's just the protective things on the tree, but there's them buds. The tree is very full of buds. Look at all those. And it needs some drastic pruning. Certain things you'll want to prune off trees like this are ones that are not going in the desired direction. So this bud here will be going in the desired direction, straight up and out. This one here, yeah, you can't even see it. The one on the top is not. It's going to grow, or is. It's going to grow straight out. This one here coming straight at me is not. It's going to grow like sideways outward. And then this one here obviously is not growing how we want it either, so we'll take that. These ones definitely are not growing the way we want them, where it's coming back into the tree. You only want branches that are going out and up. Some of these, there's a lot of buds on this tree that are not going in the desired direction, but they are all healthy looking. Look at all the buds this tree's got in the center. Oh man, it's full. And any little area's got buds on it, so it's pretty vigorous. Especially these littler twigs there, they've got an extreme amount of buds. That wind is kind of brisk. Over here you can see a lot of buds, so look at all the buds on the top, especially of this tree. I mean, and they're all healthy looking buds, gonna start new branches, but they're going in a lot of crazy places. If we take a look back, you can see all the buds against the blue sky there throughout the entire tree. But the trunk is healthy. It still moves around a little bit in the soil, but it appears better. It's in there, but the soil does still move around. So I've got the stake on there, which is gonna prevent it from absolutely pulling real hard at the wind. The wind won't yank it out of the ground or anything. Another prime example of what you'll want to remove from a tree like this is this branch here. It's growing downward. If you can see that, this bud, it's growing straight downward. Now, what it will do is it'll probably come down and curve up, which could be okay. But when it's coming out of a stem like this, right here, you don't really want that. It's getting lower on the tree. Now, if you want a tree to the ground, you could probably leave that bud, and it's going to do what this one did. It's going to kind of go, which is okay. But there's certain ones like this. You do not want this. And I don't know, this tree is producing buds all over the place, which is a great sign. Let's see. Which is a great sign. I love that it's doing that. I'll have to get in here and prune these twigs, though, because they're going crazy right now. This one here, these, if you look, will eventually become crossing. If we look from this angle, those two are going to cross at a given point. You should never see an X in a tree in any way of twigs. When they get big, they're going to get into each other and they're going to girdle each other. So we're going to want to remove this one that's growing straight down and out instead of the one that's growing up. So this tree's got some work to do, but we'll get that work done. A lot of crossing branches in here. We're going to probably even do that next winter. I'm going to let it grow one more year so I have a crap ton of stuff to prune. It's going to make it fun. So I can see, let it fill out. We were told to wait a bit. There's a brisk wind, guys, if I'm talking weird, just blowing straight at me. So it's not the warmest thing in the world. Wouldn't be bad without that wind, but it's a consistent brisk wind. Anyway, let's take a look at the daylilies now. So here's the daylily first one. These daylilies struggled a little bit after we did the tree movement, but they didn't really even struggle. They grew right in. If we take a look, always in this yard, there's two daylilies that produce the most growth, or blooms, I mean. This is the biggest daylily. Look at how large that plant is right there. This is a March update, almost April, but before we do the cleaning on them, this is the biggest daylily in the yard. And this here is the most bud produced daylily. Look at all the stems on that. Isn't that just something? Wow, that is amazing. There's a lot of stems, a lot of growth. This one though, I think this year actually has it beat. It kind of grows in clumps. It's because they're getting pretty large. But look at all the growth, all the stems on there. What do they call those? Not the fronds. I had remembered the name before. Scapes. They're called scapes. But look at all those. Wow. And this here, these ones just do their own thing, kind of. There's that one there, and this one here. So there's the daylilies. Let's take a look at that area. There it is. Spring snowflower and crabapple tree. Hopefully, cross some fingers for that one because all the trees here died. No idea why. So I hope it's not nothing in the soil that's gonna screw them up. But we'll have to hope not. These ones, not much to review because they're still buried. These ones, like I said, they're frozen in. This is, I can walk on all this snow. It's pure ice. This one here is completely frozen in because water coming out of the gutter. So those ones are gonna have fun thawing out. But there's this area. Daylilies. And over here, these ones get pretty smashed down. This one's sometimes frozen under complete ice. So these things are miraculous that they come back how they do. And here we've got our juniper, looking a lot more dark blue than kind of brighter blue it does in the summer. So the conditions around an area like Montana really change the color of like these evergreen plants' appearance as they slow down for winter. A lot of the spruces, like up those ones, they'll turn more of a gray. Well, these ones turn more of a dark blue versus the bluish greenish that you see in the summertime. So this one is definitely a lot different than you'll see in the summer, even in the videos. So there's a quick look at this one. Look at that, pretty dark blue. We'll take a quick look at the closer of the plant there. I mean, you can see a little bit of that color, but it's actually even more dark blue in real life than it is on the camera. So, but if you look in there, you can see a little more of that green. So just one of the interesting things on these plants. This is an amazing looking plant. Look at that thing. You got to be really careful not to cut too far into these plants, or you will lose a lot of growth and then it'll never come back. But right now it's looking a good navy type blue. If I'm getting my colors right there, instead of like a tealish blue. So they've got distinct colors in the winter and the summer. It's buried. It was buried almost from probably late January to early March, and now it's thawed. So that's why you're seeing that color difference, lack of sunlight. We're gonna have to start power raking here soon on a nice day. But these ones, they don't produce many canes or scapes. But they do produce quite a bit of growth. But our daylilies are getting huge, and we have never divided them. That one's a pretty large one. But these ones here, they get pretty moist. These over here, this is another area where I can walk on the snow. It's a little more thawed than no, it's pretty solid still. As you can see, I'm stepping on it there. This daylily is frozen. These daylilies are frozen. All these ones look pretty great. They're all frozen though. This one's by just a little teenier daylily, but it's producing like suckers, kind of. It's kind of cool. And these ones are buried. Over here, this one was extremely buried, but the sun comes over here. This one here actually has some mold on it. Look at that. This one is always the most buried. You can see all the scapes. I'm surprised half of them are broken, as you can see there. But some of them are still standing, which I'm very surprised about. You can see it's still got quite a bit of... The only reason these ones are buried is because I shoveled just a teeny bit of snow, but there ain't much sun over here. Over here, I had shoveled so much snow, it was up to a little bit past the white on that. So it was under at least almost 4.5 feet of snow. Pure ice at one point. So you couldn't have accessed that plant if you pleased. But there it is, kind of thawed out. You can kind of see it a little bit. That one always gets the most water. But there it is. Kind of surprised that one's as thawed as it is. It's kind of crazy. But this one here, you can see it got some snow on it too, but not as much. Just some overdraft from that. That's how big the pile of snow was there. That's why this one you can see more of the scape. But they still don't look the best. You get quite a bit of snow back on this section. Here, these ones didn't get too very much. Some might have got a little bit, but they're overall looking pretty good and also pretty deranged there with the growth. So we need to get these cleaned out. There's these, and these over here, actually these get the best of the snowfall because they actually don't even really get covered. They're usually pretty well unless we get a huge snow, but they're still not very deeply buried. That's why the scapes in these look quite well. They're smaller plants, but but they're looking quite well there. So look at that one there. And this one here, very small plants, little teenies, but they produce quite a bit of scapes. And this one there, and then those over there. So there's the areas there. Let's take a quick look at the area here. And a quick look at the area here. All right, now, while we're walking in order here, I want to take a quick look at the sod we replaced when we tore out the trees. That's way before I had this channel, almost a good year prior. But now you actually can't even see very well the sod line. You can see just a little line there. But this is all new sod where we tore out the royalty flowering crabapple trees that actually died, which was a bummer. But they weren't performing, and they actually did kind of die on us. So, but you can barely even see this now. And this was the worst one, so I'm sure I didn't even look at this yet. I'm very shocked I didn't look at this yet. But I'm really impressed how this grass regrew. You can barely even tell you see the corners over there a little bit, but you can barely even tell that anything really changed. You can see a little bit of the square. That's about it. The grass kind of matches now what the rest of the yard is. And there's the lilac. We'll do a quick look at that in a minute as well. It's got extreme buds on the top and lots of leaves. This one here, you can't even tell. You can a little bit. Here it is. You can see the line at where it is, but it's merged. Definitely merged, without a doubt, and it wasn't before, so that's pretty awesome. A lot of dead leaves here, they're all crunched, but you can see here we've got the pruned lilac, which looks quite great. I love the stick structure look, but if you look up at the top, you can see all those buds. Look at all them. Those are large buds just moving around on those stems. So this can be a real nice tree come spring. And what we prune over here, guys, is just to keep it pressure off the fence. It doesn't hurt the tree. It's just pruning the little suckers that come up. So it's not hurting the branches there. We love the tree. I love the tree, personally. I don't know about the rest of my family, but it's kind of like a privacy fence, and it's a nice bit of green to the yard. And I love all trees, so it's a really nice tree. But what we do over here with the quick pruning, they don't even see it on their side of the fence in the summer because it's so filled on their side. But we just want to keep it off of our fence because you can see it's already pushing on our fence. This one here has got quite a bit of pressure. So we just kind of keep the big stems down so we don't stress the plant any more than it already is when we prune it, because it sends suckers up through the yard. But this is a real nice tree. I love this tree. See, there's two different trees there. That's one lilac and that's the second one. First one gets bigger, second one doesn't grow as much. Kind of an interesting thing there. But they typically, you can see where they prune it. Kind of the same area as we prune it. But they haven't done that in many years, and it's getting pretty tall. But I kind of like it. It's kind of nice. But look at that. It'll come off their gutter there, and there'll be a big icicle hanging in the tree. And so this one's a really cool tree. In the summertime, though, it hasn't produced as many buds. And I think that's because we kind of cut it from our side a little more. But even the tops have not produced as much buds, usually that's where they're produced. So I think it's just the weather changes. They produce a ton of buds on this whole section over here, an absolute crap load. You can actually see down in this area some of those dried up blooms there. I don't mean buds. By buds, guys, I meant the blossoms that come out of the tree. So anyway, that's what's going on with the lilac across the yard. Anyway, that's a quick update of the trees for March. So the lilac here, we're gonna definitely review that probably in May again, like last year, and we'll just see. So last year when I filmed this video, it was a little bit of a yellowish dusk, and that's what it was like last night. But tonight we're gonna have more of just that sunset and type thumbnail there. So actually, yeah, so we'll take a look at this area again and the grass. So we're gonna probably shoot to do the grass. I'm gonna have to take a day off work to help with that, and I don't know, I'll probably just do a ring time lapse of that. I don't know if I'll be able to record that. It's a long process. I don't know if I'll get a call or something like that. I don't want to be stressing about that while I'm working, so we'll probably hold off. But here where we tore the tree out, you guys didn't see this, but all this grass, so we had plywood with rocks sitting on it from this area when we did this whole work in 2023, and the whole area, you guys, had those on it forever. We took it off and there was just no grass at all. It just killed all the grass. But within the end of the season, all the grass grew back. It's a little weaker. It was a little weaker, like it was needing more water. So if you ever do something like that, the grass will recover from the roots, because it kind of just, what it does when you put a bunch of plywood over it for a while, the roots kind of sense that there's no light, and they do not continue growing because it'll kill them. They go dormant, and then the grass on top dies, kind of turns to soil. And then you take the stuff off, keep watering it, and those roots reactivate and produce more grass strands. So that did happen, especially over here. It produced a little bit of nicer grass, a little more thick kind of grass. So it's kind of a nice thing. But all this wasn't even existent. It just came back. You can't even tell. So pretty cool. That's what's cool about all this. So there's that, guys. Look at that view. This is the March, the other area update, March 19th, 2025.